Imagine if Thomas Jefferson had access to the same AI tools you use every day. Google just released a commercial that does exactly that. It reimagines the Declaration of Independence being drafted with AI assistance. And it's raising important questions about creativity, history, and what it means when powerful companies use our nation's founding documents as marketing props. This isn't just another tech company bragging about their AI. Google's taking one of the most important documents in human history and asking a philosophical question. What if the smartest minds in 1776 had a digital thinking partner? The commercial shows AI suggesting edits, refining language, offering alternative framings, all while Jefferson and the founding fathers debate founding principles. It's brilliant marketing because it does something most AI commercials don't. It makes AI feel less like a threat to human creativity and more like a creative partner. Instead of showing robots replacing writers or artists, it shows AI making great thinkers even greater. It taps into a deep cultural anxiety that's been building for 2 years. If AI can write essays and code and business emails, what's left for humans? The commercial dropped on July 4th. Independence Day, perfect timing and cultural resonance. But here's what makes this bigger than just a clever ad. This is Google telling a story about AI's future role in society, landing in a moment when that conversation is more urgent than ever. Google's been on a mission to rebrand AI from the technology that's going to take your job to the technology that's going to make you better at your job. And they're spending billions on advertising to make that happen. Their new Gemini AI system, which powers everything from Gmail to Google Search to their Gemini 2.0 model, has been the centerpiece of this repositioning strategy. But here's what makes this commercial different from the usual look how smart our AI is ads. Google isn't showing off raw computational power. They're telling a story about human-AI collaboration that resonates emotionally. They're asking us to imagine a world where the people we admire most, the thinkers, creators, and leaders who shaped history, had access to AI as a thinking partner. The commercial is part of a broader campaign that started about a year ago. Google realized that tech specs don't move people. Stories do. Features don't move people. Emotional connection does. So they've pivoted their entire marketing strategy toward showing how AI fits into the creative process rather than replacing it. This specific commercial was clearly timed for July 4th. There's no accident there. It's one of the few moments in the American calendar where the entire culture pauses to talk about founding principles and national identity. Google's piggybacking on that moment to say, AI isn't un-American. AI isn't a threat to our values. AI is a tool that even our greatest thinkers could use. So what does the commercial actually show? The scene opens on Thomas Jefferson at his desk in Philadelphia during the summer of 1776. He's got quill and ink, the traditional tools, but he's also got a digital interface beside him. Gemini is running alongside history itself. You see Jefferson writing a line, then pausing. Gemini suggests an alternative phrasing. Sometimes he accepts it. Sometimes he argues with it, literally debating the AI on word choice and tone. The power of the execution is that it never feels like the AI is taking over. It's always Jefferson making the final call. The AI is the thinking partner. He's the decision maker. One moment that's stuck with people, when Jefferson writes something and Gemini flags it as potentially contradictory given earlier clauses in the Declaration. The AI catches a logical inconsistency and offers to help resolve it. Jefferson considers the suggestion, revises his own language slightly, and the Declaration becomes more logically coherent. It's showing AI as a quality control partner for human creativity. The commercial also shows dialogue between Jefferson and the other founding fathers, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and how Gemini helps them think through different framings of the same idea. Different versions of the same sentences get tested. Gemini pulls in historical context and offers alternatives. It's not just about writing better sentences. It's about thinking more clearly, considering more angles, and making more intentional choices. And that's genuinely powerful as a concept. This isn't theoretical. Right now, millions of people are using Gemini and ChatGPT and Claude in exactly this way, as thinking partners for creative work. Writers use AI to brainstorm plot angles without the AI writing the novel for them. Marketers use it to test headline variations before committing to a campaign. Software engineers use it to think through architectural decisions. The Declaration of Independence experiment is just the most historically resonant version of a pattern that's already happening. A consultant might be drafting a strategic plan and ask an AI to poke holes in their logic. An investor might be writing a pitch deck and ask an AI to suggest different framings of the same data. A student might be outlining an essay and ask an AI to suggest sources they haven't considered. Google's genius move was taking this very real, very practical use case and applying it to something that matters culturally. Instead of showing someone at a laptop writing a quarterly business report with AI help, which is true but boring, they showed Thomas Jefferson writing the Declaration of Independence with AI help. Same idea, massive cultural weight. And here's what's fascinating. People aren't rejecting the commercial. They're not saying, "How dare you use our founding document as a marketing stunt?" Instead, the response has been thoughtful. People are saying things like, "That's actually a cool way to think about how Jefferson would have used these tools, and this makes me feel less scared about AI taking over creativity. It's working as intended." How does this compare to what other tech companies are doing? Microsoft's been running ads where Copilot helps office workers. Apple's showing how their AI features make iPhones smarter. Meta's been quiet about AI advertising, probably because of privacy concerns. But nobody else has tried what Google just did: take a historical moment and reimagine it with AI as a character. Most tech advertising falls into one of two camps. Either it's the "wow, look at our engineering approach, lots of impressive tech specs and demonstrations of raw capability," or it's the "AI makes your life easier" approach, scenarios where the technology solves a specific human problem, like scheduling meetings or sorting emails. These are safer approaches because they don't raise philosophical questions. Google went third way. They picked something emotionally loaded, historically significant, and philosophically complex. They asked viewers to consider not just, "Does this work?" but "Is this good? Is this how we want to use AI? Would our heroes have wanted this?" That's riskier. It invites debate. It invites critics to say this is using a sacred document for profit. And some people have said exactly that. But the upside is enormous, because people are talking about it, thinking about it, and wrestling with their feelings about AI in a deeper way than any standard tech commercial could achieve. The commercial works because it respects the intelligence of its audience. It doesn't pretend AI is magic. It doesn't overpromise. What does this mean? On the surface, it's just marketing. Google's trying to change how people perceive AI, but there's something more significant happening. Tech companies are increasingly using culture and history as part of their narrative, not just selling a product, but a vision of the future. Google's message is clear: AI belongs in the creative process. It belongs in the rooms where decisions happen, in moments where humans figure out what matters. If you accept that AI should help us think about the Declaration of Independence, you can accept it helping you write an email, draft a proposal, or outline a novel. This is what marketing scholars call narrative legitimization. You use culture, history, patriotism, shared values to make technology feel inevitable and right. By putting Gemini alongside Jefferson and the Founding Fathers, Google says, "This isn't new and dangerous. This is the next chapter in the American story of using tools to amplify human potential." The implications cut multiple ways. For Google, it's brilliant brand work. For society, it raises important questions. When do we want AI involved in our thinking? What are the limits? Who gets to decide? For creators, it's a nudge toward acceptance. Maybe AI isn't the enemy. Maybe it's the collaborator. That acceptance, that permission to see AI differently, might be worth more to Google than any technical breakthrough. Because permission and acceptance unlock adoption, and adoption drives trillion-dollar valuations. If you want to actually try this, if you want to experience the kind of human-AI collaboration Google's showing, you don't need to wait for special tools. You can do it right now, today, with tools that already exist. Open Gemini or ChatGPT or Claude on your browser. Pick something you're trying to write or create. It could be an essay, a poem, a business email, a technical specification. Write your first draft without any AI help. Get your thoughts out of your head and onto the page. Then, and this is important, ask the AI not to rewrite it, but to improve it. Ask it to suggest specific changes. Ask it to poke holes in your logic. Ask it to offer alternative framings. What you're doing is exactly what Jefferson was doing in the commercial. You're treating the AI as a thinking partner, not a ghostwriter. The difference matters. It's the difference between collaboration and replacement. Here's a concrete example. If you're drafting a message to your boss about a work problem, don't paste the whole thing and ask ChatGPT to write it. Instead, write your first attempt, then ask, what's unclear about this? Where could I be more specific? What would make this more persuasive? Then incorporate the AI's feedback into a second draft that's genuinely yours. Most people never experience AI this way because they treat it like a replacement. Here's what matters about this moment. Google's commercial works because it's emotionally true, not technically true. Nobody thinks Jefferson actually had access to Gemini. That's not the point. The point is that the commercial articulates something people are feeling, that AI could enhance human creativity if we set it up that way. We are at an inflection point with artificial intelligence. For 2 years, the dominant narrative has been fear. Fear of job losses, fear of replacement. Fear that AI will outsmart us and make humans irrelevant. Those fears aren't baseless, they're worth taking seriously. But they are not the whole story. The other story, the one Google's telling, is that AI could be a tool for human flourishing, not instead of human thinking but alongside it. A partner, not a replacement. An amplifier, not a substitute. That story isn't inevitable. It depends on how we build these systems, how we deploy them, and most importantly, how we choose to use them. Watch for this narrative to spread. You'll see other companies, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, trying their own versions of AI as collaborator messaging in the coming months. You'll see it in product design, in marketing, and in how these companies talk about the future. This commercial isn't an anomaly. It's the beginning of a much bigger repositioning. The real question for you isn't whether AI is good or bad. It's whether you'll use it as a tool for thinking or a replacement for thinking.